Yep. How's everyone doing today? I'm testing out my ring light really quickly. Alrighty. Okay. I guess the ring light might not be too much. We'll see. My table's up a little higher than I'm used to, but it's so that I can kind of show stuff off here when I have it. Yeah. Let me turn this down a little bit because, dang, it is like really bright. Is that enough, or is that like too much? Is that too dark? I'm gonna face it towards me. That gives me a little bit of light, not too much. I think that'll work. I think that'll work well. So, how is everyone doing today? Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I know that I am. Get my phone turned a little bit here. Trying to get things set up on this is like with this sort of rudimentary setup that I have going on. Can be somewhat challenging, but it works, and that's why I go on a little bit early sometimes just to make sure I've got everything kind of set up and ready so that everyone can kind of just hop on in and have a seat. Hey, BXD. First victim. So, happy May the 4th to all those Star Wars fans out there. May the 4th be with you, always. So today, we're going to be, hey, chat and hang out. Let everyone come in and just enjoy it, and even the trolls and everything else. So that's basically what the thumbnail was all about, was just come on in, have a seat, have a go, see if you got what it takes to troll me. Most of the time, they don't. And since everyone expected me at 2, yes, I am a little bit early. It'll give people a chance to kind of mosey on in here before I kind of get into what it is that we're doing today, what we're discussing today. And then, of course, I have the chat that I can watch here, so I can see. It's unfortunate that I'm still on a delay to where I'm only able to see basically my responses to the questions at the same rate that you are, which kind of doubles it in a sense. But I will not ignore the comments. If I miss any, I'll try and go back, or the moderators will yell at me and tell me, hey, asked you a question or whatever. But it is what it is. So I'll try and get to it the best I can without missing anybody, because we don't want to miss you guys. We want to hear what you guys have to talk about and chat and have a good time, hang out, talk about the projects if that's something that you're interested in that are on my channel. I am expecting a wonderful package today, and basically it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be what we need for that 340, that 340 millimeter EDF. So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to see that. I'm gonna, as soon as I get here, I'm gonna open them up. I'm gonna show them to you, and then I'll run over and pop them on the balancing charger. So that's gonna be cool. I actually want to see the size of these things. It's gonna be freaking massive. These batteries. So, welcome, Black. How are you? I have no idea what that emoji is. Oh, it's a dab. Cool. Yes. That rocks. Dab away. Welcome to the chat, and today it's about enjoying yourself. Talk about what you want to talk about. Most of the time, I get people come in and talk about politics. They talk about all kinds of stuff. And some people come in talking about religion. Some people just come in to talk about the projects that I do on my channel. And that is something that I love to talk about all the time, obviously. Hence the channel itself. But, we're here to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So, whatever's on your mind. It's about hanging out, getting to know the person who's actually behind the videos that I create. And all are welcome, especially the trolls. Love the trolls, man. I've got such a collection of trolls. It's awesome. I am doing good. Thank you very much, DJ Wolf. Welcome. How are you doing today? Appreciate you coming in. I hope everyone enjoys what they're going to see today, and just a discussion in general amongst yourselves and whatever you guys want to talk about. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of this. It doesn't necessarily have to be about my channel and what I do. It can be about anything else that you want. And people, they like the chats. They like the chats. I don't know why. I don't know if it's my cleavage or what, but I don't know if it's my personality. I have no idea. All I know is that people like the chats, and sometimes they're even more popular than my videos, which saddens me inside, just because I do a lot of work on my videos. But it is what it is, right? We're all here for to have fun. Just have fun and chat. Because I've scrolled through the lives before, just out of curiosity. And I ran across this one guy. I couldn't tell you his channel name because I don't remember. And I guess he was just sitting there kind of waiting for people to drop in. And as soon as he noticed somebody drop in, freaking beard hair. As soon as he noticed somebody drop in, he looks right at the screen as soon as I got in there, and he goes, "Oh, cool, hey, what's up?" He goes, "Do you want to watch me chug water?" I was like, go ahead and hydrate yourself. I mean, more power to you. Some of the channels I don't get. Some of the lives I don't get. I don't understand why that's the premise. Is like they're waiting for somebody to get there so they can try to do something that would be considered, like you see in the shorts, like either something that they're hoping goes viral or whatever. I have no idea. I don't have a viral video yet, but I'm working on it. I imagine when that 340 millimeter EDF explodes, that might go viral. I'm not going to be in the room for it, though, I'll tell you that. Oh my goodness, my eyes. Is it Wentverse? Welcome. How are you doing? Captain Fantastic, welcome. What's the coolest fact I know? Oh wow, I know everything. So that's a tall order. Let's see, coolest fact I know. That we are probably going to get hit with an asteroid in 2027 or 2028, which to me is awesome. I was hoping for COVID zombies, but I'll take an asteroid. The coolest fact I know outside of that, I mean, what subject? I mean, you got a subject in particular that you're interested in? I mean, Luke, welcome. You personally have. Congratulations to you. And we have started. Biology. The most fascinating fact to me is how neurons basically are created, how the link between neurons are created to form memories. It's interesting to actually watch that under a microscope. I find that fascinating, and the electrochemical processes that happen between neurons, how the receptors in the brain work as far as dopamine and things like that. I find that intriguing. So. Am I what? We got another one. Hold on. Hi everyone. Hi, Horsepower. How's it going? Welcome. Am I a nerd on what? On? Did you mean on the loose, or you just kind of? Yeah. I guess you could call me a nerd, but I'm that nerd that went to war, so that kind of changed me into a dangerous nerd. So I guess so. Yeah, call me a nerd. I don't care. Is the update now? Hold on. Pro T Diddy stream. I was in the Gulf War. Blinks. Welcome, welcome, AZ. How you doing? Yeah, everyone like and subscribe. Everyone came back from that war, and they had issues. I lost a lot of friends. You know how that works, and still I miss the combat. It's sort of weird. Wait, where's Spider? Oh, hi, Spider. I didn't see you come in here. Like I said, I'm on the same delay as everybody else is because I'm using the forward facing on the mobile. So I can't see them as they come up on the other side. So I have the same delay as everybody else. So, Lois, welcome. How are you? Luke, AZ, all of you, Blinks, everybody if I missed any of you, welcome everyone. I'm glad you're here. Any other interesting questions? Lois, you're doing well. What the heck? Who left? Who got moderated out? All of a sudden, their text disappear. What's going on? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, for my wood, it would take several woodchucks and a 53-foot trailer. Unknown Facts Daily. Hey, dude, what's up? I am from India. Welcome from India. I am glad you are here. But Unknown Facts Daily. Do you have an unknown unknown fact for us today? I can speak English, I promise. How does the chicken cross the road? In the KFC bag with the person carrying it. Does that work? It got to the other side. It was just in the KFC bag. With an M1A1. I have no idea what that means. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize. Is it Bobea? 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 I don't want to insult you or anything like that by pronouncing your name wrong. Then he wants me to say something else. I couldn't pronounce that if I tried. Let's see here. Hold on. Pavel, sending you love and light from Serbia. Belgrade. God bless. Wow. Serbia. Welcome. God bless you too. Hey, Case, how's it going? Welcome, everyone. Let's see here. Ireland. Yeah. Ireland. I recently did my ancestry DNA, so I think I own a castle like everywhere. Glory. Hola. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who am I? I don't know. I'll have to wait till the voices tell me who I am today. I am an engineer. I am a creator. But I don't do it traditionally. Most people take safety measures. When it comes to me creating the turbines that I've been creating, I have learned, however, not to hold them anymore. After the first 170 millimeter explosion. Why do you want me to say that so badly? I'm just curious. I don't want to say anything that's going to offend anyone else, and I don't want to say anything that's going to, get me in trouble. So, if you tell me what it means, or if somebody can translate it for me. Well, one of the turbines that I was working on exploded. Yeah. Luckily, the fan casing stopped most of the turbine blades from hitting me and going out. Now, granted, these were all out of PLA. They weren't anything metal that was going to kill me or anything like that. So, and I've been taking some serious safety precautions after that for the purpose of making sure that I don't have, well, safety precautions as in I'm not holding an EDF anymore that I print. Do I collect knives? Because I know in America a lot of people do. I don't have a lot of knives. I've got like a couple of pocket knives that I use. I've got like a utility knife, a DeWalt one. That's not a bad one. It's great for opening packages. I do have one sword, but it's a replica of the sword of Robert the Bruce because he's related to me. So I did, however, get in touch with somebody on Instagram who is making these these Viking style swords that could literally chop like straight through wood like with an axe, heavy blade. And I told him, I said, I want one of those. I said, because my 31st great grandfather is Ragnar Lothbrok, according to Ancestry, through Aslaug Sigurd's daughter. and through her son Sigurd Ragnarsson. So basically, I wanted a Viking sword with my clan logo on it. So the translations will have to pay 3 times the rent. Why would you want me to say that? Casa Blanca, you are a robotics engineer, which now makes you my best friend. Yeah, I could mentor you. I actually, when I do the major project that I am doing, I'm going to be needing some. If you imagine like a drone with 4 engines, obviously, but those engines gimbal. They gimbal at 3 points. It can walk across the ground. It can squat and then burst into the air, and then the EDFs spin up, and then it flies like a drone. So there's a project for you. I need a mechanical setup for that, and we'll collaborate. We'll do some stuff. It'll be fun. You can find my email on my channel page. So if you want to contact me there, we'll shoot ideas back and forth, and we'll go from there. I'm always up for helping out somebody else, and us creating something new. That'd be cool. In Ireland, it is 10 o'clock at night. Oh man, I've always wanted to go to Ireland. I really have, but I don't know anymore. Politically, with the world the way it is, it's like everyone like hates America now, and it's like, why? It's like as soon as we started making other people pay their part to close to the equivalent to what we were paying, into NATO and everything else, it was just then they didn't like us for it. Spider is spidering at this very moment. You're spidering? Didn't say. What did it say? Let me read this. Hold on. Emmy, I think it is. Welcome. If I didn't say that already. I thought that didn't. Oh, this T-shirt. I was thinking. Oh, what it says is that basically I'm a proud dad that did not raise liberals. That's basically what the shirt says. That's what it is. I didn't raise liberals. No, when my children were small, they were helping me top off my magazines. Sitting next to dad on the floor, pile of ammunition, click, 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 and they loved it. It sounds like my package is here that I was waiting for, because the Huskies are losing their damn mind. Well, one of the Huskies is, because she's part coyote and barks like that. The other Husky that I have, he's just a big, fluffy, derpy Husky with ice blue eyes. He's like the sweetest thing. But Vivian, my other one, she's part coyote. It's here, isn't it? Oh, goody. Bullet. All right. Let me get my. These are heavy.
I know.
Man. All right. So now, if anybody knows the 340 millimeter turbine EDF that I've been building, you know that I was waiting for some heavy duty power. So I'm about to show you what we got here. Hopefully without injuring myself. So, trying not to like accidentally throw my knife everywhere. Okay, the connectors, those are the converters from the EC5s to the TX60s. What in the world is this? Z power batteries right there. I don't know what this is. Can you send me something else? Let's do some unboxing. I'm not ignoring your questions or your chat. I can't see it at the moment. Oh, my dear, if you're still watching, your worms are here for the geckos. So I'll set those right there. All right. Your food for your geckos is here, my dear. All right, let's take a look at these batteries. Now, both of these batteries are going to be put in series to power that fan. And we are looking at, holy wow, two of these big boys, 10,000 milliamps. These batteries are going to power that fan. Let me get this box out of the way here. After I do the top off charge on them, because I'm sure they're at a shipping charge. So I think that'll be enough power to run it for a while. We're doing our test, which will probably be tonight after I top it off, but it'll be a video, not a live or a short or anything like that. So that's what we'll do. So look at how big these things are. So in series, it'll give me my 48 volts, and we'll be running 20,000 milliamps of runtime. Each one of the motors for the drone will have these two batteries. So we're gonna have 8 of these total in the drone. PXD, man, look. 2 10,000 millis. Aren't they beautiful? Oh my gosh. A 120C discharge rate. And that's what we're using right there. I'm gonna put these converters on really quick because I need to in order to charge them. Hi Miranda, how are you doing? Welcome. Welcome. Hold on, what is that? Yes, okay, that's the right one. So, you will hook that up to there. And other one. These two will save if I ever have to use those. And okay, so those are set. I'll get those charged up for tonight. Do I believe? Hold on. I'm gonna try and catch up on the chat. So, when something can happen in the U.S. like zombie apocalypse, are you prepper? Oh, you could call me a prepper. I mean, I've got 1,000 rounds of .308 under my bed. So, and the cool part is they're cavium rounds, Venezuelan cavium rounds from 1989. They are hot rounds, and they will only function in a gas powered rifle. If you put them in a bolt action, it'll jam it up every time. So I built an AR-10 specifically for them. But that's my big weapon. My actual weapon is more of a you can't know about it kind of thing. No, I'm kidding. It's totally fine. Everything I do is completely and totally, legal and legit. I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to get anybody else in any trouble. So, am I a prepper? Yeah, because I have a tilapia farm I started out back, and I have a backup solar system that I put in. Even though I'm currently in a rental, I still run it. I still use grid tie inverters to drop my electric bill. Plus, I have a battery backup system I did with a bunch of deep cycle marine batteries and some inverters so that I could power essentials in the event that there's a power outage. Things like that. Water collection, I'm putting together basically using dehydrators that they would use, or dehumidifiers that they use in basements for the East Coast. Bring those over here, use the dehumidifiers outside, and then I pump them through Brita filters, and then those go into tanks with water stabilization tablets. So I'm pulling water from the air all the time, and basically making water, potable water. So yeah, I'll be ready. I mean, yes, I'm waiting for the zombies. I would really, really like the zombies. They sound like more fun. Cowboy coffee. The only coffee you drink. Are we back up? Did I lose the stream? Okay, no, I didn't lose the stream. The internet likes to drop in and out and then comes back. So if there's ever like a stall in it, that's my internet for you. They've been sending me router after router after router and can't figure out why it keeps doing it. So, yeah. Lois, the goat. Is that a question or statement? I love it when everybody drops in to see what's going on. I love it. And you guys get to know each other, which is cool. I think we had a troll, but he's gone. That's too bad. It was entertaining. Yeah, well, of course I love God. Yes, I do love God. And Christ is the only way back to him. I get into a lot of debates with people about that. They like to, especially Instagram. They are all over me on Instagram. They were just like, you can't prove God exists. I'm like, you can't prove he doesn't. I'm like, really? The science answers this and that and the other. I said, science is the observation of creation, nothing more. And has never created something from nothing. The universe didn't even create something from nothing. It can't. It had to be created. And they're, well, what about the Big Bang? I'm like, well, what was it beforehand? They go, well, that proves that the earth is older than what the Bible says it is. I said, well, you're not thinking in the terms of a being outside of time. You're thinking of in human terms. Let's put it this way. On the last day, according to creation in the Bible, that's when man was made. But everything else was made before that. So, that being said, and God being timeless, and him creating space-time, how do you know how fast or how slow that age of the universe passed when human consciousness didn't exist to perceive its passage of time in the way that it was designed to perceive the passage of time? So that being said, it might have the appearance of 4.5 billion years. And according to us, it would take that long. According to us and our perception of time as we perceive it with our consciousness, that's why it would take that long. But it doesn't mean it took that long. And that's what people fail to understand about the whole concept. Think about it. The entire universe was created, everything we ever needed, complete and total paradise, until, of course, we screwed it up. And then the consciousness of man began. And that's when he started perceiving time as God had decided he would perceive it. So, yeah. So that's pretty much settles the argument of the age of the earth. Does it appear to be 4.5 billion years old? Of course. Is it? Probably not. More than likely, no. But according to our perception, because time is relative, folks, time only passes at a specific rate within our gravitational influence, of course. When gravity changes, the passage of time changes. But it's still relative to the individual, which means our consciousness is separate from space-time. And that means that this consciousness, who you are, isn't bound by time either once it leaves this body, this sort of meat sack avatar that you kind of inhabit at the moment. But people want to argue the point. No, God doesn't exist. He lets horrible things happen. I said, no, the wickedness of man makes horrible things happen. God gave us free will. So, would you rather be a slave and be forced to worship God, or would you rather have a choice? Because you have a choice. One choice is a narrow path where you have to make moral decisions. The other one is you bend to the desires of the flesh and of the world and satisfy your own needs and wants selfishly without thinking of others or your immortal soul. So, hey, the choice is yours. Bungee jump with or without the cord. I wish you the best of luck. You're halfway through the Bible now? King James Version? Like, which version are you reading? There's a few that make, like the NLT kind of makes it a little bit more comprehensive from how they spoke back then, the these, the thous, the thines, that kind of thing. But it's still worth reading. What we like to do, my wife and I, is we like to find the original Hebrew text. Because each individual character of each word in Hebrew has its own specific meaning. Names have specific meanings. Names tell a story, which is why in Exodus, when you take all the names, it tells a story. And it's just amazing to me how the Bible unravels. There's so much more to it than what you just read. And a lot of people don't like it when I talk about the Bible. They don't. If my live stream gets 30 peak viewers, I'd be surprised when I start talking about the Bible. Nobody wants to hear it because a lot of people in the world, they are comfortable. Sin is comfortable. Sin is a comfortable place to be. You don't want to leave it. And then one day, it's too late. And all you have to do is read the Bible, understand its morality, find the character of God in it, ask the Holy Spirit to help God reveal himself to you if you don't believe he exists. And you have to accept Christ. Christ is the only way back to the Father. So that's just all there is to it. I know it sounds harsh, like he's the only way back, but he's the only way back, okay? Every other religion is they're similar in the sense that they believe in a God, but they don't believe in Yahweh, and they don't believe in Christ. So who would I be if I didn't stand firm in that? You have the right to your opinions. You have the right to worship whoever you want to, specifically in this country. But recently they've been trying to take Christianity out of the picture and leave every other original religion alone. So it kind of makes you wonder, why do they want that out of the picture, but they're okay with leaving everything else? It's like, any other thing that the government doesn't want the people to start, because it gives us more agency over ourselves, and they don't want that. They want us to control us, and that's never going to happen. That's when we have free will. You can make the choice, and you have to live with the consequences. It's that simple. Reincarnation? Is that what you meant? We don't reincarnate. We just don't. And I'll tell you why. What is the purpose of, what would the purpose be of reincarnation? Into what? An animal with no will and instinct? Most people think they reincarnate as an animal or another human. But what would be the purpose of a choice to get you from where you are to where you need to be if you made a mistake and they just said, oh, go back and do it again until you get it right? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What there will be after what we call as Christians the rapture is tribulation. And then during that tribulation, there will be people who will come to Christ because they see him and they know he exists now. But there will still be a lot that deny him no matter what, even though he's there, right? And don't be mistaken by like that one Islamic guy who says he's a descendant of Christ and this and that and the other. He's a false prophet, and he's a heretic, and I'm sorry, there is a hell waiting for him. And bring sunscreen. The point is, when Christ returns, there's a reason why he says it'll be like a thief in the night. People won't know what has happened, which is why they're building up the whole alien conspiracy, like people saying there's a mothership in the not in the atmosphere, but in the solar system and so on and so forth. They know what's going to happen. There's people up at the tippity top you don't even know about. They know what's going to happen. They know the Bible's truth. So they have to stage whatever they have to stage for the people left behind. They're like, oh, they were all taken by aliens. And then a lot of the people down here who don't believe in God are going to be like, but I'm a good person. I wanted to go with the aliens. And it's like everyone believes in aliens now. I don't know why. It's just stupid. Aliens don't exist. Okay, so a lot of people will argue the point with me that aliens don't exist. But Lois, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. We are incarnate in a sense. Paul said, we know not yet what we will be, but we know we will be like him. That's a good point. God created us in his image, but we are bound to this specific time. We have to go through time. And Christ said, because people want proof. They want proof. And only a fool would ask for physical proof of God. Have faith, and then you'll see. I can't explain it. It's once you have faith, you can't ever imagine being without it. But if you don't have it, it's hard to explain. Hold on. I don't know how to speak. I know it's minism. I don't want to offend you, but kind of off topic, but more power to you. You like big women, okay? Someone went vroom. Yeah. Well, okay. Everyone thinks it's. I don't know if you guys saw basically the Omega weather pattern that's happened to the United States. Here in California, we're supposed to be in upper 80s, 90s already, and we're not. It's 77. It was cold last night, like down in the 50s. The weather patterns have changed dramatically, and they will continue to change. That's another sign of end times, is unpredictable weather. We have tornadoes here now. It's totally cool. My wife won't let me go play in the tornadoes, though. I want to go play in the tornadoes. Yes, John. The purpose of that, when he showed himself to the witnesses that saw him after his resurrection, was to show that he was Christ. So he showed the wounds. He could have been easily healed. He could have taken them away instantly, but he wanted people to see what they'd done to him and what he'd become. So that was the whole point. Mini gym. Oh, mini gym. Okay. Sorry. Screens are getting smaller. Text getting smaller. Bifocals aren't working as well. Caspin, did I miss your comment? Which comment was it? Please repeat it. I'm on the same delay as you, so I apologize if I miss anything. What did I miss from Caspin? We don't want to leave him out. I don't want to leave anybody out, but sometimes you guys get going so fast. Hold on. Nam J. Brock. Before I subscribe to you, can you tell me who you are, what you do, what do you do, and what are you doing here and why? Okay, so I'm an engineer, specifically experimental propulsion technology. What you see on my channel, somebody is zooming. What you hear on my channel, or what you see on my channel, is what I can personally put out there for you to see, to help with the hobbyist, drone enthusiast, RC enthusiast, and engineer, and experimental propulsion enthusiast. There are things I can't show you because they're proprietary to one of my specific designs that no one has yet to see, but you all will. So what I've been doing is I was tired of, I was basically building EDF drones. So instead of using open props, I'm using induction fan engines. But as I wanted to go farther up with the power of these engines, I realized that in a drone situation, you're dealing with so many amps from each individual engine that the power distribution board and the power draw is immense. So you're going to develop a lot of heat, especially since I'm using 22 blade high pass fan configurations for my EDFs. So what I did is, instead of buying like a $5,000 Schubler, and I'm not saying that they're bad engines, they're just really expensive and they drain the batteries fairly quickly. So I needed to find another solution to produce the same amount, if not more thrust, but draw less amps, have more horsepower, and basically run off the same battery packs that some of the larger EDFs would run off of, but run longer. And it's cheaper. You can do it with stuff you can get off of Amazon. So, for example, the 340 millimeter EDF is running a 7070 Flip Sky 60 horsepower 75 volt, and I'm only pushing 48 volts through, which gives me a very low amp draw but tons of torque. Yes, my dear.
Make sure you read Ian's question.
What was the question? I missed it.
He reposted it.
Did he repost it? I don't want to miss his question. Let me try and find it, Caspin. They get talking, can't read the text at the same time. Where? Why am I not seeing it? Lori, what do you tell me? What do you ask me? Pepper on steroids.
Did you find it?
Wait, I'll write it again. Please do. Like right now, I'll pay attention to it right now. I won't turn on all messages. I don't even know how to do that. What's he talking about? Turn on all messages.
Ask him how.
I see Caspin writing, but he's writing it again. I think he's going to write the question again. Three dots. I'm on the same. Okay. Hold on, we'll get there. Glory, like everybody, shut up.
If it doesn't post, I'll read it to you.
Yeah, I am. Basically, defense systems in a sense. Okay, Caspin, if you posted it already, I'm not seeing it. Hold on. Can you check it? Can you see what he asked?
Yeah.
What did he ask? Just tell me. Make it easier for me.
He said, are you ready?
Yeah.
He said, why did miracles stop appearing when cameras and media appeared? Every year the number of atheists increases. Why doesn't a miracle appear to silence them all?
Oh, because tempting God is a dangerous thing. It's a choice you have to make. Miracles have never stopped happening. You don't see them as much. Like, for example, this is a sort of a touchy subject for me. A few years back, my daughter had a seizure, and she had a cavernoma in her right temporal lobe. I didn't know what was going on. I'm holding my daughter on the floor. She's shaking. Then she's unconscious, still breathing, thankfully for me. And I was like, I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was going to lose my daughter. And so I prayed and prayed and prayed. And I spent a week over at the Valley Children's, in Southern California. Barely ate, wouldn't leave her side. And then when she woke up, the first thing she did to me was this. From literally being unconscious for a week. And then after a while, everything was fine. She never had a seizure since. Every time we go back annually for a fast vent MRI, these things typically will continue to bleed or they'll make another bleed. And I told the doctor, I said, I prayed, you watch what happens. Ever since the first seizure, never had another one. Ever since the first seizure, every single fast vent MRI that she had to go for, there was improvement in the cavernoma. To the point where the doctor was smiling this last time this year and said, this thing is rock solid. We don't think you're going to have any more issues with it. So that's a miracle. And if you don't believe that, I mean, I can give you another story that happened to me when I was young. Nobody believed it either. Proof that God exists. Everybody ready? My grandmother was a very devout Christian. But she had a gift of sight. She saw things. And trust me, we all knew what she saw. There was a couple times she told us what she saw. And as a kid, around 10, 12 years old, I didn't really take it seriously too much. So basically, this is the way it went down. Okay, we have a small white terrier named Spencer. And, it's the family dog. One night, my grandma sits up in bed, and I usually slept on the floor in one of the rooms or the hallway because we had just a swamp cooler. This was back in the day, okay? And when it would get hot, I would just basically sleep on the floor anywhere I was comfortable. And it was cool. But this time it was in my grandma's room, close to the wall where the air vent was coming down. And it just was cooler there. So I get comfortable, lay down. She sits up. And she goes, and this is the middle of the night. Wakes me up. She goes, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this.
Keep talking. Just let me see your tablet for a second.
Oh, okay.
Keep talking.
Yeah. Wife's going to check out my chats so I don't miss anything. There, guys. Can you see me now? Hold on. Can everyone, the wife's working on the tablet, so hold on. Am I back? Everybody say I'm back. Yay, we're back. Okay. So let me start over with the story. I can't. I'm not going to plug it back in because it's just going to do that again.
Now you can see everything.
Okay, now I can see everything. Okay. So, here's the story. Let me make sure that I'm on camera and beautiful for all of you. So my grandma sits up. I'm 12 years old. Says, I don't know if I can tell you this, or if I'm supposed to tell you this, but the dog is going to die in 3 days. Not a. This is the proof. I don't know what part you guys got caught off on, but this is the proof of. This was the proof of God that I needed at a young age because I have a very analytical, very scientific mind. So this is how this worked for me. Okay. So buckle up. So she goes, the dog's going to die in 3 days. She knew exactly how the dog would die in 3 days. Everything. So before I get to the details on that, I want to show you this. I want to tell you this. So knowing what we knew, we tied the dog up on his leash in the house. And we had sort of like this faux kind of fireplace, the electric one. And then it had little bars on the front. So we had the leash tied on that. So the dog couldn't run outside if the door was open in any way. So we would take him out back, let him do his business, so on and so forth. Bring him back in the house and tie him back up again. On the morning of the third day, he got out. We don't know how. And when he did, he was hit by a car. The exact same car that my grandmother described to me. It was a blue Datsun pickup. And she had told me that was, and she even knew what the man looked like that walked up to the door, apologizing for what had happened. No matter what we did to intervene, when God said it was going to happen, that was going to happen. I don't know why we were told this. I think it was because he knew my mind. He knew I would need proof for 2 reasons. One, I had a very scientific, very analytical mind, even at a young age. And 2, I have passionate faith. So these 2 combined would make me a force for his teachings. I think he knew that. I got to see the future unfold exactly the way I was told it would happen. By my grandmother, from God. She even sat up and said, yes, Lord, I understand, but if you do not leave my presence, I will die. She knew that she couldn't be in the presence of God because we're all sinners. And she knew who she was talking to. There was another instance where her eyes were opened. And she started sweeping something out of the house. She was losing. She was like, get out of my house right now. And she was like rebuking them. and everything else. And when I asked her to explain, because I always had a very, very eerie feeling about that house. I knew I was being followed constantly, especially in the backyard. Constantly followed, and I knew it was a very chilling, right against the back of your neck feeling, like someone was right behind you, always. And that house really scared me. She saw what she told me. God had opened her eyes, and she saw the unseen. She saw demons, little just looking things running around the house, the small ones. In my room, there was a taller one that reached the ceiling, 8 feet. And all of them were receiving commands from a huge serpent wrapped around the massive oak tree in our front yard. And he was bigger than the house, taller than the house, giving commands to all the demons on the inside. And I was like, well, that explains a lot. Because I always felt the presence of something there. And I could feel it. They were just like not right in front of me, but you could tell they were like right here in your peripheral, and you could feel them, and you knew they were right behind you, and it just gave you chills, and you weren't doing anything. You just knew that they were there. I could feel when one would come up behind me. It almost felt like I could hear their breath, in a sense. Not really a breath, but you understand what I'm talking about. When you are aware of the presence of someone that is right there. That was one house I'll never go back into. I'm glad that we moved out. I'll tell you that much. But the dog, and me knowing the future, I was given evidence, proof of the future 3 days in advance. I don't know how. I know a lot of people out there are going to say, I consulted my crystals and do the same thing. Crystals don't talk to you, okay? Rocks don't talk to you. They don't give you messages and stuff like that. It's God, it's the angels, or it's the devil. Period. Okay? It's not the dead. You can't contact your dead loved ones. It doesn't work that way. To be absent from the body is to be present with God. Unless you're a non-believer, then it's to be absent from the body is to be barbecue. And that's pretty much how it works. So when these people are going around like doing ghost hunting and stuff like that, that's stupid. Because you're not talking to a dead relative. Someone might try to these demons might try to emulate what they already can hear in your head, because trust me, they can, to fool you. But that's to pull you farther away from God, like so that you see this is I've got evidence of the afterlife now because I caught it on tape or whatever, or I heard it with my own ears. That's pulling you away from God. That's why they do it, and too many people fall for it. But I'm telling you right now, the one thing I will always carry with me is my grandmother telling me the future. A message from God, but 3 days into the future. And the thing is, it shows me that everything is written already. Because no matter what we did to intervene, it happened anyway. No matter what we did. Had we left it alone, probably would have died anyway. No matter what, that dog was going to die. No matter whether we tied it up, whether we just ignored it and let it happen, I knew it would happen. And 3 days later, it did. Exactly as she said it would. So when people ask me for proof of God, I always have to start off by saying, You're not supposed to tempt God. Only a fool asks for proof. Okay, and that's biblical. And I'm telling you what I'm telling you because it happened to me, and that's how I know. I think my mind, with the way it is, I needed it. God knew what I needed. And why would he give that to me and not somebody else? Well, he reveals himself in many ways to many different people. But for whatever reason, he needed me. He needed me to have my faith. He needed me to keep my faith. And I will stand firm in my faith, no matter what. They could have a gun to my head. I'll stand firm to my faith. They could attack me. I'll stand firm to my faith. I'm not going to turn. You don't understand what turn the other cheek means. When someone comes up to you and they attack you and you're told to turn the other cheek, it isn't turn the other cheek and take it and be like, oh, well, okay, well, God will handle it. No, it's you turn the other cheek and you say in a firm voice, is that all you got? Because I've got God. So keep going. We'll see what happens. There's also a form of righteous anger that God expects from all of us. Not anger, not hatred, not any of that. Not towards individuals, but when people mock God, there is a righteous anger. And that anger is to drive you to be passionate about the truth of God. Because there are going to be people out there, no matter what you say, they're only wanting you to say, proof or why you believe. And I've heard over and over and over and over and over again, especially on Instagram, that, we don't believe in your magical, fairy tale book or your wizard sky daddy. I always hear the same thing over and over again. Not one of them. And I went for a whole week arguing with these people. A week. They gave up. I never stopped. I never will. I will continue to fight that battle forever. Bottom line. The atheist goes, oh, God doesn't exist. The Bible says this, so how can he exist? You can't disprove God with his word. You cannot. You will not. And to all of those who may have other faiths and other religions, I respect these people. But if I don't stand firm in my faith and tell you what I know is real, then how can anybody ever take me seriously? I can't make concessions for other religions, especially if they don't follow what the Bible teaches. It doesn't mean I don't respect the individual. I love all the people of the world. I wish all the people of the world would find Christ and have that salvation. I really do. But everyone's going to argue with me on it 24/7. I've been talking like crazy, so please let me read some of the chats so I can show you guys and talk to you guys about what's going on here. Hi to everyone who has come in. I apologize if I didn't say hi. I'm on the same delay as you. But they said they fixed the tablet so I can see all of the chat. So hopefully I can. Tithing is an interesting concept. Tithing is more about you taking the extra that you have and enjoying it with your family and with God. Like you have a meal and you go like, God, we're tithing this to you. We're celebrating what we've been given by taking that little bit extra, that 10%, and we're putting it aside for us. And that what they meant was of their harvest, so that they could have a banquet and celebrate the blessings that God gave them. The church, the modern day church, is turned into give me money. So it's a little different now. But the true nature behind tithing was, inviting people over from next door and sharing the extra food that you have, or, showing companionship with them, and sharing the bounty that was given to you. That kind of thing. That's what tithing is to me. I believe you and I know that is real. I'm constantly in prayer, and I choose to work for God. Was chemically changing my consciousness, and I will always forgive people who do not see and know. You have to. You have to forgive people who don't see and know. People are going to attack you for your faith. You take it and you move on. That's all there is to it. Small people attack people for their faith. And that's all there is to it. I don't wish any harm on anybody. I just wish they would see the truth, but they don't want to. What they see is whatever their narrow perception shows them. This is the world. This is what the world gives me. It's pain, it's suffering, it's this and that. But if you understood the salvation that's in the Bible, the salvation that's in Christ and in God, then you'll start to understand there's much more to this world than you think. The wickedness of man won't last forever. This earth will pass away, and there will be a new one. And then we will have, it's written, we will have our new bodies afterwards. There will be no more pain. There will be no more suffering. And it says the old heaven and the old earth will pass away. The old heavens, not heaven itself. The heavens, the universe, the sky. I love talking to flat earthers, I'll tell you that much. Because they base their theory on religion. They go, oh, it's a firmament. I go, but you don't understand. We're not a flat plate covered by a Pyrex dish. Okay? That's all there is to it. The word firmament, if you go back to the original Hebrew, is the same as a gilding. So when they referred to some of the statues that had a firmament of gold around them, they meant it was a gilding that went around it. So the atmosphere around the earth is the firmament, but that doesn't mean it's a solid object you can't get through. It just means that it's the gilding around the earth, which allows us to breathe, which I'm very grateful for. But the earth is round. You can't look out into the universe and go, oh, everything's round, and then of course the earth is flat. That doesn't make any sense. Besides, the simplest thing in the universe for matter to create is a sphere within a gravitational well. What happens with asteroids? And when they group together, they eventually group together to make small moons, and then they create more gravity according to their mass, and they create a larger body, like another planet or something like that. Gravity is the answer to the flat Earth theory, which to me is hilarious. Hold on, I'm missing more. You can say that Superman is the one who creates the universe, and the proof of this is that he said that in his book, Superman? So I'm just curious on what you're trying to say here. In the book, so it's the same argument. No, it isn't the same argument, because there was no such thing as Superman. There is such thing as God, and there was such thing as, well, still is, Christ walked the earth. There's biblical evidence of it. There's 500 people saw him after his crucifixion. Now, I imagine people arguing the point, and, that one or two people saw it and wrote it down. But no, over 500 eyewitnesses saw Christ after his resurrection, and they watched him ascend into heaven. Okay, now all these people who believe in aliens are really big on ascension. So why is it that people would even deny that, even if they didn't take it in the same context? So, I mean, it's like, argue all you want about it. It's that simple. God's real. Christ is real. Salvation is for everyone. And if people would just take out the time to realize that and turn away from the desires of the flesh, or at least control themselves, then they could be saved. They could get that same salvation. It's yours for the taking. You just have to believe. What's my favorite RC plane? We can change the subject. That's good. That's fine. That's what we're all here for. My favorite RC plane is one that I don't have right now. My favorite one was the Super Sky Surfer. It was the powered RC glider. Loved that plane. Put a bigger motor on it, of course, bigger prop, made some modifications. But the FMS Fox, the 3000 millimeter FMS Fox, is the one that I want to get next. I can't get it right now because I just got these batteries, and these were $275. So, and my brother bought them. So, once I get David to buy me the FMS Fox, we'll take it for a spin. So, y'all have to say it though. Y'all got to tell David, we want to see the FMS Fox. We want to watch a big glider with a GoPro on it, because I got the GoPro, right? So we want to use. That's what you want to see. You want to see some aerial footage with a powered glider that can do aerobatics, which is really cool. What Superman was a good movie, but I think it was like Chronicles of Narnia, where there was a Christ allegory, in a sense. So I want to know, out of all the people who are watching right now, once these batteries get charged up, I'm going to do the filming tonight. I'm afraid to go full throttle, to be honest with you, because I don't know how much that will. Nothing is put together with glue on that thing. It's all friction fit. The hub, the blades, the whole nine works. The whole nine works. Wow. I don't even know why that made sense. But the point is, all of it is held together friction fit. That's the way I designed it in the CAD program. So it was designed for CNC, but using PETG has the right tolerances. I had to kind of tap the blades in with a mallet, and then the rear plate holds it on, the rear main shaft. So everything is friction fit. Story when I was being born, 3 black demons appeared before my mother. She was dying, but everyone in town gave her blood. Infusions. Okay. 20 years later. T2, is that, you said, what happened afterwards? Imki! Guess who's back, he says. How you doing, Imki? What do you got for us today? Garland, I hear a bunch of kids talking outside. Look and see if they're across the street on the property, and the 9 is underneath my desk.
It's a group of teenagers, about 4 boys, and one of them is trying to navigate the sidewalk with a cone, a traffic cone on his head.
He has a traffic cone on his head and he's walking down the street?
Yep, and his friends are guiding him.
And his friends are guiding him.
That's all you're hearing.
I'm hearing teenagers guide another one with a traffic cone on his head.
But they're not on the property, so it's okay.
They're not on the property, that's fine. A traffic cone? Let me guess, they're probably going to do a short about that and it'll get 2 million views. And mine will get like 500. Some of the weird people need to stop huffing paint around here. I'm telling you. Yes, that's my wife, Imki. Don't make me reach you the screen and strangle you. I doubt, I sincerely doubt you'd be man enough for. How do you know I like you? How do I know you like? Is that a question or a statement? What do you feel about the current genocide in Gaza? I think they need to finish it. You see all these septum-wearing, rainbow flag-carrying idiots here in the United States going out and supporting Palestine when once they go there, you know, go ahead and go to Palestine as a trans person or whatever it is you claim to be, a desk lamp, I don't care. But go ahead and go to Palestine. You know, wearing all your gear, you know, saying who you are, and see what happens. Trust me, I've seen it happen there. I know. Catherine, Lori, you have a good point. It's not really, actually, it's not really a genocide in Gaza. Well, yeah, we know, Imki, go to Israel. Even the Jews don't believe that Christ has returned. They thought he was. They're going to be really surprised. Yeah, they screwed up big time. I mean, the Israelites were God's people, but man, he got frustrated with them several times. They were complaining and complaining and complaining to the point where they were building idols because they were just complaining so much. If I was in that situation during the Exodus, and there's a pillar of fire guiding me through the desert at night, that would be enough for me. Okay? And then you get to the Red Sea, and he parts it, that would be even more than enough for me. But no, the Israelites still complained all the way through the desert to the point where they weren't even they weren't allowed to go into the promised land because of it. They even sent people into the promised land to do recon. I mean, just when God tells you to do something, go do it. Don't just sit there and be like, well, maybe we should go check it out first. God just told you what to do. These 3 black demons came to me and said, I don't want to go and want to live. Oh, yeah. Are you saying they asked you, or you told them that you didn't want to go? And that you wanted to live? I'm listening to you, Chichu. Who's bringing chaos? Who's bringing chaos to the world? Yeah, I smoke too. Well, don't worry about it. I smoke too. It was an old thing from the army. I used to smoke cigarettes like packs a day, but now I'm down to just kind of puffing on the pipe. It's helping. I'll get there eventually. Aspen, why do you keep saying Superman? You're saying Jesus or God is Superman. Is that what you're saying? CBD's not bad for you. The cigarettes are, though. The easiest way that I've noticed to quit smoking cigarettes is just don't get it anymore. If you get a pipe like this and you have pipe tobacco and you just do what I do, which is basically I light the tobacco, and I sort of get a little bit of the aroma like in my nose and a little bit of inhalation, very light. And I use like really good charcoal filters in this. And that keeps me from, what I normally used to do when I was smoking, which was take a deep drag and then all the way down to my lungs. Now, if I were to do that with this, I would cough like I did when I first started smoking. So it's telling me that my lungs are recovering. But this is a really good way, if you can't just quit altogether because you still have that fixation that you have of the actual act of smoking that you need to deal with. It's a good way to subside that. And you don't find yourself doing it all the time. So, yeah, why are we talking about the truth of Superman? There is no Superman. I mean, I'm the closest you got. Sorry. I'd beat Superman's ass. I'm sorry. Arm wrestling, he'd have to yield. Yeah. I got that, Glory. I'm just trying to interject, give my point of view. Maybe Superman is what the Jews wanted Jesus to be. Well, I mean, the Jews always expected a Messiah. They just didn't believe that he came and called him just a prophet, and then eventually they killed him. So, yeah, the Jewish people pretty much killed their own king. So it's and when they realized what they'd done, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You crucify somebody, then the sky goes dark when he dies, lightning strikes, there's an earthquake, the ground splits. At that point, I'd be like, maybe we messed up, but they didn't mess up. That's the thing. See, Jesus knew what he had to do. He knew he had to be the salvation for all mankind, and all you would have to do is accept him. Live a good life. Obviously, you're not going to, it's not like car insurance, you know. You got to believe in him. But when the devil tried to tempt him in the desert, he wasn't even certain. Even the devil didn't know who Jesus was, if he was the Messiah. He didn't know. He had no idea. And he didn't know. All he knew was that this was somebody who was bringing people back to God and preaching the Bible. So the devil set out to destroy him. But what the devil didn't know was that the cross would be our redemption. So the devil screwed up. And it was too late by the time it was done. So, yeah. There was a book by, C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. And in that entire thing, he's talking about how he's being, this demon is telling him, about how to work with their assignment, their assigned person. What nobody else got in the book was that C.S. Lewis was talking about himself, because even in the book, he predicted his own death, because the demon, the letters said that C.S. Lewis, that basically the patient would die in a bombing raid, which is what happened to C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis wrote the book. So he was talking about himself through the entire book in the Screwtape Letters. So I recommend you read that. It'll be eye-opening. Yeah, they expected a Messiah. They just didn't believe that Jesus was, and they screwed up. But you know what? That's not, to be perfectly honest with you, the way the Israelites acted. It's one of the reasons why God says the first shall be last and the last shall be first. We're considered Gentiles, okay, all of us. The Israelites are God's chosen people, the first, but they disobey continuously. And God gave us that message. Jesus knew that salvation was for the world, so even the Gentiles, who were the second, would be first. The first shall be last, the last shall be first. So the Gentiles, us who believe in Christ, we will be first, before even his chosen people, because of their disobedience. They expect a Messiah ready to fight the Romans. That's not going to happen. When Christ returns, the believers, we're gone. That's it. We're gone. It even says in the Bible, one will be taken, and two will be in the field, one will be taken, and the other will be left behind. And it'll happen like that. And you never know when. No one knows the day. But he did say to look for the signs. And a lot of the signs we've been seeing, like, well, first off, unpredictable. You won't know what the seasons are in the end. You won't be able to determine the seasons. And we've noticed lately a lot of changes in weather patterns, which people attribute to climate change. And it's not. It's the beginning of the birth pains. That's all it is. So keep an eye out. Always be looking and always be prepared. Live your life like you're going to live the rest of it forever. But always be prepared for his return. In other words, hold on to that faith. Know what it is to be a Christian, to be good, to be morally correct, and be ready. Be ready always. Christ is your only way home. He's your Savior. We're in the last days of fifth human race? Can you elaborate on that, Pavel? Oh, Petrovic. I assume, is that a Russian name? Ukrainian? I'm just curious. Yes, you know. Antonio, it's a broom. It's like a rake leaning against the wall. Look closer. Ah, I understand. Okay. You lived in Russia, but it's a Slavic name. Okay. Biligvolsky. I probably said it wrong. I was trying to learn Russian. As far as I've gotten so far is Ilya Zavut. Roger. And then I think yours would, your response would be in the normal conversation and be Ilya, and then your name, and then darn it, it was very nice to meet you. I can't remember it, and then it was Zain would be as well, or something like that. I'm trying. Well, I think that's is that a pun, Tino? I know, but it looks a bit fishy. That's just, you know. Okay. I don't tell no one these black demons are their secret. If I ever told people, you're telling everybody, lock you up and throw away the key. No, they wouldn't. Collision of words. I'll look that one up. I'll see if I can find it. I'll check it out. Well, for some reason I popped up in the feed. Am I not the typical stuff that you look for on the internet? I hope you're enjoying the conversation. To be honest with you, I try, no matter when I'm doing videos, it's to a specific niche in a sense. Most people aren't really into it, so it's been very hard for the channel to grow. But I like to have these chats where I kind of just get to know people and say, like, well, if you like the content, everything is cool. Even if you don't understand most of it, it's still cool. I love doing it. And I've been in the engineering phase of it for such a long time, and building and testing, that eventually I'll be out there flying. In one of my playlists, the Shrike concept drone, the version 10 V10 Maiden was the one where I finally got EDF engines to work well with a flight controller and made an EDF drone. And that worked out beautifully. So I decided, go bigger, right? Make something that I can eventually ride to the store. And yes, I know, I've seen the one guy on YouTube who flies around on like an octocopter or something like that with open props, which to me seems a little bit dangerous. It's like, can you imagine people flying around in their quote unquote flying cars that you need a helicopter pad for? That's not a flying car. If you've got 4 huge props and it doesn't take up the same footprint as like a standard SUV, and it's not a flying car. It's just another form of a helicopter. People aren't going to go to the store in that thing. You got 2 engines on every corner. They have huge props on them. It's like, can you imagine a Black Friday sale at Target and everybody flying one of those things around? There would be mass decapitations all the way through the parking lot. No, I'm trying to make a safer form of travel. Air travel, that is. Personal conveyance, that kind of thing. And yes, I've seen the video of the air bike where the person's sitting on top of 1, 2, or 3 kerosene-powered engines, but I'm going electric, possibly hydrogen. Well, electric, but powered by hydrogen, which will lighten the load of the battery packs necessary and still be able to provide, using a hydrogen fuel cell, the power necessary to run the motors. And that's my ultimate goal in this. For my own personal thing, I'm going to make a quad. One of the big things I'm going to be doing is a quad. So you think of an off-road mud quad, replace the tires with gimbaling turbine engines, and you can fly at street level or you can go higher. That's the whole point of it. This person creates an air bike, which, is cool, but it's this little tiny thing where the feet are hanging off the back. They can't carry any cargo. It can only use one person, and I don't think it runs very long because of how much fuel it could possibly hold in that little tiny body. So while it's cool for, shorts and stuff like that on YouTube, is it a practical transportation vehicle? No. Can you haul cargo? No. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating something that can carry more than, something that can carry enough people like in an SUV, like, seating for 8. Enough room for cargo. Well, we were created in his image. So there are going to be some inherent desires of creating different things. But I'm going to be honest with you. For me, making something like this has always been something I've wanted to do. Some of my designs have been inspired by, one of the drones I'm going to do is the Cutlass Black from a game called Star Citizen, if anybody's ever heard of it. The game's really cool if you can get it to work. But it's one of those things, it's like one of those money pit kind of games where it's been in development for like 35 years and we still don't have a beta. We're still in an alpha version where, we're still, everything's horrible in the game half the time. It doesn't work. I have yet to see a stable version of the game out, but it's gorgeous. The game is gorgeous. It's just if they would just, instead of selling ships that aren't even finished yet, just to keep that money coming in, finish the game. Because eventually, if you don't, we're all going to quit. You're not going to have anything. Thank you. I'm very proud that I am a dad that did not raise liberals. Cramping up a little bit. Again, I'm sitting in the small chair. I still got to get a good chair for these chats, like something comfy, where I can kick back and just relax and talk to you guys for a while. Because I sit in like this metal lawn chair, okay, that has the cross member across the bottom that kicks me directly in the moment I sit down. Okay, so it's not conducive to someone my size. I mean, look, I'm 6'4", 290. And I'm like in this little thing. Little tiny, insignificant chair. But that bar is my worst enemy right there. So I gotta sit down carefully, and because it's not wide enough, my legs get pushed together, and you know how that goes, man, guys. I mean, you got stuff down there. You push one sideways, and it goes, poop, and you're like, oh man, jeez, that's like horrid. That hurts so bad. Here I am, putting my legs to sleep for you guys, like I've been sitting on the toilets, going through reels for 3 hours. But you're a midget? 6 feet? You do live streams? That'd be cool. We could do one together. That'd be awesome. I'm doing more than just drones. I'm doing long range reconnaissance and that type of crap. My idea is to have a highly energy efficient motor that can still produce an immense amount of thrust. So that's why I built, I started with the 170 millimeter EDF and moved up to the 340 millimeter EDF. And that's going to be a drone that I build out of 4 of those engines. And they're powerful. And this is the part that's going to get you. I wanted to do it as inexpensive as possible. Now the batteries were $275 for the pair. That's expected, especially when you're doing testing. When I do a hydrogen system, that's another thing. But for now, if you're doing RC stuff and you just want a drone that runs off EDFs or is really cool, and you want to fly something different, everything that I've done can be purchased from Amazon. So that was the key to this part of the experiment when it came to creating this drone or any other aircraft that I'm making. Is that you don't have to spend a lot of money on really expensive EDF engines from Schubler or somebody else or JP Hobby and stuff like that. You can spend $83 on a 60 horsepower skateboard motor. And on the 170 millimeter, I have it running through a 4-to-1 planetary gearbox. So that's 28,000 RPMs. And then this one is around 6,000 RPMs, but you don't need more than that for a 340 millimeter fan. But it'll go. I think I can burst it much faster. This is what we're gonna find out tonight, because I'm gonna top these big bad boys off right here, and these all together in series at 48 volts. This is going to be our big test of that engine. Not only for speed, burst, and amps, but heat, blade failure if we have any. Could end in a spectacular explosion of the blades coming apart. We don't know. I 3D printed the entire thing. Okay? Blade by blade, then the hub, and assembled everything. The main shaft, bought the bearings I needed off of Amazon, the batteries, the motor, the PETG, all off of Amazon. It's Creality PETG, by the way, and it's actually quite good. So, welcome to everyone. If I haven't said it, if you're just showing up, just coming in, I'm on the same delay as you guys are because of the way my setup is at the moment. So, bear with me. But yeah, now we got these big bad boys that just got delivered. So that's 20,000 milliamps of runtime. So we do have I have an amp meter, I have a voltmeter, I have the watts, I have everything. So what I do is I have the GoPro, which will sit on the table and will film the turbine from above, because the turbine is actually sitting on top of a 5-gallon bucket. It's bigger than the 5-gallon bucket. It's the only rig I could come up with. I didn't have any extra cash laying around for the extruded aluminum that I want to do for sort of a lifting cage to test it, to see at what point on the throttle I have hover with all of its weight. So what we're going to do is basically we're testing, at this point it's going to be the integrity of the blades, how long they last, how much heat buildup we get. We'll run sort of at a conservative 50 to 60% throttle with some bursts in there to see how much power we can get out of it, how much thrust. I know it produces a considerable amount of thrust because everything in here blows around all over the place as soon as I start spinning it up. So, but yeah, these are enormous batteries for sure. The reason behind this is because the last test I ran at 48 amps, I only had two 2200 milliamp batteries, so it was only 4400 milliamps. Now we're at 20,000 milliamps. So and the discharge rate on this is 120 C as opposed to 70 C. And my peak amps, I think, when I pushed it really hard last time was 54. But I did have voltage sag in one of the batteries, and it started to puff up. And I think it was because I put those batteries through a lot of testing, so they were just old. So this is basically, I'm going to get these out of their shipping, storage, charge, whatever they're at. And then I'm going to set everything up, and I'm going to record it tonight. So the GoPro is going to record the fan, because like I said, it's sitting at the vertical on top of the bucket, and it's held down with plastic strap or fiber straps and literally metal self-tapping screws into the table just to hold it in place. Because it's a static thrust test in a sense, it's more for making sure that it can handle the integrity. The integrity of the system is tested by everything's held down. It can't move up. So the idea is, how much stress can the system take? That's what we're going for. You might see the blade fly all the way to the top of the thing. I don't know. But on the last 48 volt test, it was pretty cool. You could see it where it started to torque the entire setup, even though it's strapped down. So running these batteries is going to be fun. So like I was saying, the GoPro is going to be set on its tripod up above, so you can see the top of the fan and see how things are going. I will have the phone recording the amp meter, which gives all of the data that's coming off of the system. So you know how many amps we have that we're pushing at a specific throttle input. I'll be letting everybody know what throttle we're at, what percentage we're going to, and then you're reading the amps, you're reading the volts, so on and so forth. It'll be a longer run test because it is 20,000 milliamps, so I'm looking forward to that, and we'll see how long this thing lasts. And for a 3D printed turbine EDF, I'm excited. I'm very excited. It's going to be fun. And if the blade fails, which I assumed at one point that it would, just because it's not CNC'd out of aluminum like I would hope for, because I can't afford, a CNC machine. I'd love to get that Pocket NC, which would be really great for the shop because it could do the work, because the parts are small enough but big enough to be run on that machine. So they could do the blades, it could do the hub, it could do the whole thing. But seeing how far I can push the PETG is going to be fun. Because I've pushed it pretty far so far, and it's done very well. Yeah, I hear you. No, I'd be happy to do it. Go on there with you, teach you. It'd be fun. Just email me on my channel page. Give me the specifics, and then we'll talk about it. I'm all for it. But sometimes I'll sit here for 5 hours. I won't move. I won't go to the bathroom. Nothing. And it's all because I'm like so dedicated to making sure you guys like have fun and get to chat, and you get to know what I'm doing, and you get to know me, because I want you to get to know me as well as what I'm doing, because most people don't really do that. They don't take the time out to personally get to know their audience. I want to know all of you. If I forget your names, that's the ADHD part. Okay, so don't blame me. It's nothing personal. It's just the way my brain works. July would be cool. And we could do it. We could definitely do it live. That'd be fun. Inside, I do have a setup. T2, just so you know, I am running a Rodecaster Pro, and I have a 4K cam for my computer, and a Rode NT1 mic. So once we link up online, you'll get some good quality audio from me. So plus video. So yeah, it'd be fun. We want to talk about those guys? Bundy, OJ, or Manson? Ugh. That's a tough choice. I'll have to think about that. Are you willing to cooperate with the Army if successful? Oh, I'm sorry. If succeed, will you get it if right amount of money is offered? My system is pretty much proprietary. It can be used in the military sector. I'm thinking more towards the rescue sector, just because of how low and fast you can get in and get out and not have the dangers that a helicopter would basically have to encounter in rescue operations. And the drone itself, unmanned, could lift a human being, so rescue is definitely a potential for that. Even fighting concentrated fires, things like that, that may crop up, because California is known for that. As far as the military goes, I don't want to say one way or another when it comes to the military, because in the event that something, let's just speak hypothetically, in the event that something like that occurs, where I have a contract with, the Defense Department, it's not something I want to share online, or they would even let me share online. But the tech is for the betterment of humanity, not just the Army. And the idea is, I eventually want to have, some GPS controlled skyways where you can be driving your car and take an off ramp, but it's not an off ramp like you would think traditionally. It's like, we're going to grandma's house, we got to go over the mountains and over this and over that. And you have a designated GPS skyway that's projected on your windscreen. And what'll happen is it's controlled via GPS system, even though it's manual controlled, sort of like a Tesla does. it can self-drive, but you can also take control in the event of emergencies. But the GPS Skyway is underneath commercial flight heights, and it's designated basically, you go in, fill in your hydrogen tanks, make sure they're topped off, then you take off, get into the queue, and then you're on this GPS controlled Skyway that takes you over all of the traffic, all of the around the cities, things like that, over a mountain or whatever, and then you're on it, and then you land at another on-ramp where you top off your hydrogen, and then you're back on the road again because it has its wheels still. So the idea is to make a vehicle where you can stay on the road as long as you want, but then you can take to the sky whenever you need to. But it would have to be controlled in a sense to where it would have to fit within the infrastructure that we currently have. So since we have, air traffic control, which is above a certain altitude, and we have ground control for vehicles, which is roads and stoplights and so on and so forth, and a GPS designated skyway system that you couldn't deviate out of, would be something that would be beneficial, because then it would limit traffic congestion. You're using hydrogen, so you're not polluting, and it would have electrical backups as well as using hydrogen for electric through a fuel cell. And it would also be one of those situations where it would have emergency drogue chutes and things like that. So if something were to happen to one of the engines, it could also turn itself to fly as a tricopter instead of just a quad. So several different safety mechanisms in place in the event of something happening to one of the engines, that kind of thing. But, turbine engines on Boeings are pretty, Pratt and Whitney made a fairly, I can totally feel something behind me. They made a fairly reliable engine, so it's not the kind of thing where it's going to be, they fail all the time. There could be, and that's why there's going to have to be extensive testing, things like that. But the idea is sound. So, and you'll see the results of this test. You'll see how many amps I'm pulling, for one. You'll see the speed of the turbine. You're going to be convinced that not only will this drone fly, it'll fly well and have plenty of overhead for power. If it doesn't blow up this time. It is 3D printed. We do have to concede to that. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're excited. That's what I want to do, is get excited, because this is going to somewhere else. Think about this. You're not just going out to the wilderness on your quad anymore to ride through the mud. You're going out in the wilderness on your quad to fly through the trees or just over the top of them, or get to your favorite fishing spot or somewhere you couldn't normally get before. And it's all electric. So you're like, you can stay at ride height off the ground. There'll be ground facing LiDAR, camera systems, ultraviolet, whatever you need to stay at the perfect level off the ground. And then once you switch the modes, you can go higher, all the way up to where the FAA says stuff like this can fly to, about 400 feet, where you're not in commercial traffic area. Of course, you would have an air radar system, like, they have the apps for your phone where you can see what planes are where. Well, you take that and you integrate it into your own system, and your own system is actually telling you where you are and where the air traffic is and at what altitude it is. And you're not flying into that airspace, but you are aware of other people and in proximity to them. As a matter of fact, if somebody else is flying with you and you set a proximity fence around you, then the geofence, in a sense, will keep you from colliding with another person who may have the same vehicle you're flying. there's a lot to it. There's a lot more than just the engine that I'm playing with right now. There's a lot of thought I have put into this, and and I'm excited because a friend of mine's building a shop. He's designated, a section for me for basically building the large scale ship that I'm doing, which is a large scale personnel and cargo vessel. That basically, I mean, if you've ever played Star Citizen, it's basically the Cutlass Black. If you look up the Cutlass Black, that's what it's going to be. Articulating rear nacelles, the whole 9 yards. So, VTOL, so there's no need for a runway. Uh, Things like that. I have a lot of different ideas. A lot. And I've designed so many things. I have to CAD them out and make them. I've got to get these ideas created out of my head and on the table and actually working. And I have been at this for over a year nonstop. If you watch my channel, I've been nonstop for over a year. And am I trying to get monetized? Of course I am. Why? Because I'm on benefits. And I'm trying my best to make a little bit of extra because it all goes back into this. Because remember, these cost $275 for these batteries. And I'm just in a testing phase at this point. The next phase after these tests will be building 4 of these engines and then building the body, which I'm already in the middle of designing, and putting everything together, having a total of 8 of these batteries, a Taro power distribution board which can handle 480 amps because I only need 100 amps per engine, but it does give me an 80 amp overhead across the board. I'm going to need probably around 20 rolls of clear PETG because I'm going for a drone, not only for as a proving ground, but I'm also going to add a ton of Arduino lights because I would love to get a UFO sighting on somebody's phone. And then somebody turned it into the news. And then all of you are going like, I know whose drone that is. That'd be awesome. That would just be totally awesome. I want to make the news with this one. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Innovation, exactly right. Well, T2, we are probably going to. I'm up for it. I really am. I'm totally up for it. And it's we've got to bring some new tech to the world. Everyone's like, hey,
Sorry, Conehead.
What's up?
Conehead kid and a bunch of traffic cone kid and a bunch of kids are across the street. Do you want me to hit the panic alarm, or should I not because they'll call you?
Are they on the property?
Yeah. Just
Should we send in the wolves?
Maybe.
All right.
I'll let it go for now. They're not. I mean.
Where are they at?
I don't know. They all went into the corridor.
They're in the corridor. I don't want to waste any more 37 millimeters.
Let's just let it go for now, and then if they do anything stupid, I'll tell you. Yeah?
Okay, if they start breaking anything other, the thing is I don't want anybody getting hurt over there because I have plenty of holes in there that have enough bodies in them already. So I don't want them to get hurt over there, and then I
agree. I'll hit the panic button to make them leave, or Luke can go tell them to leave if you want.
If you want Luke to go over there and tell them to get out, that's fine. But if they're just kids.
They're teens.
They're teens.
15, 16, 17 maybe.
Okay.
There's 3 boys, 2 girls.
No flashbangs. It's probably the same kids I kicked out of there 100 times. I always get trespassers over there all the time. You have them go over there and tell them to get off the property and tell them I'm watching. 37 millimeter stuff isn't cheap. But when it's kids, I just kick them off because I don't want them to get hurt. I did have a lot of situations where people would break in to the buildings and try to, adults, and they had weapons, so they were trying to get copper. A bunch of fentanyl fiends just trying to steal copper and stuff like that to go get their drugs. And a couple of them had, like, one of them pulled a knife, and I was like, okay, let's go. I got excited. I was like, oh, I haven't done this since the war. So I was like, I've got my body armor on and all kinds of stuff. Got a 26 sitting right here. Another 308 mag here. 300 blackout rounds here. A couple extra 37 mils. Yeah, I'm not messing around with people who have weapons these days, especially this this next generation of adults that are coming in, because they would rather, instead of being wrong, they would rather hurt somebody, and I'll hurt you right back. So I don't like to I would fight, I guess. I've had situations where I've had to fight people who surrounded me in their dirt bikes and stuff like that because they were going up and down on the property, and they wouldn't fight me even though they were surrounding me with the dirt bikes. I'm like, I'm right here, man. Get off the bikes. And they're like, oh, no, we're not. And there was one that just would not shut up. He was like the biggest male Karen I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, and he was like, we're not even on your property. I'm like, dude, shut up. You're on camera. Okay? I have more than enough to put you away. Or at least trespass you. And have your little stupid dirt bikes, confiscated. But in the end, they did the same thing everybody else does. And they said, well, instead of fighting like they said they wanted to, oh, I'll be back. I'm like, okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you'll be back. And they never do. They never come back. If they say that, they're not coming back. It's just that simple. And last night, it was interesting because we heard some people, we thought we heard somebody trying to get into the house, and I got all excited. I was like, ooh, goody, goody, goody. And everyone thinks, why are you excited about somebody breaking into your house? I'm like, because I've been waiting for this, it's like, gets this a situation where a person's like, okay, you got me. Call 911. Don't hurt me. It's like, why would I do that? Nobody knows you're here. So, yeah, it's fun to protect property, especially with the belligerent people. I had one guy that had a weapon on him, and basically the way it ended up is I had mine. We were in a standoff. I had my weapon. He had his. I'm like, what are you doing over here, dude? I said, I know you don't want to. You're not trying to catch a murder charge by shooting me, and you're on my property, so I won't be getting in trouble. And I guess he saw his girlfriend in the apartment complex with another guy, and he was getting all heated. I'm like, dude, what? In all seriousness, where do you think this is going to lead? So I holstered my weapon, and he came out of the area in the building, and I told him, look, listen, the only thing that's going to come out of this, you getting all heated over her, is you're going to get yourself put in jail, or worse, and you're going to cause yourself a whole lot of grief. If that's the way she is, walk away from her. Okay? And so he decided to go to his mother's. He goes, oh, let's go sleep at my mom's, and he finally calmed down, and I made, friends with him, respectfully at the end. It's like, and that's what I try to do. But when you get the belligerent kind of gangbangers who go around, they're tagging like MS-13 or X-13 or whatever bullshit that means. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of freaking cartels. None of them. None of them. I'm not afraid of anybody. Anybody. Because I know who stands beside me. That's all there is to it. I'll go into any battle. But yeah, typically I have to deal with a lot of, not very smart individuals. When I try to warn them off and say, look, there's holes down there you are not getting out of if you fall down in there. And a lot of them are filled with murky water that's been there for a long time, okay? Have you ever watched the movie It? I'm not going in after you. Bottom line. You fall in that hole, I'll drop some snacks. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I'm not messing around with these guys. It's real simple. If they actually do want to fight, then I will. But I'm sometimes when it comes to fist fighting, I'm afraid to do anything because of the last person I almost finished. We'll put it that way. It wasn't intentional that I hit him that hard. I didn't know I was hitting him that hard. I was actually holding back quite a bit, but I was just out of basic training, so it was like I was a tank, 6'4". I was about 310, and I was just ripped up, and yeah, it was. I didn't mean to hit him that hard, and I messed. Everybody knows the story. It's already heard it. It's been here before. And I messed up. I cracked his orbital socket, and he almost lost his eye, and his nose just went. It's like. I didn't mean to do that. Everyone thought I hit him with a barbell. And it was just my fist. And and that's why I try to avoid the confrontation when I can. But nowadays, you're dealing with people who walk around with weapons just because they want to feel big and better and bad about themselves. And I'll fight you. If you got a weapon, I'll fight you hand to hand, whether you got a weapon or not. If you're going to come at me, I hope you brought a pillow because you're taking a nap. And I mean it. I'm not just bragging because of my size or my strength or my speed or anything like that. I was trained by the best at Fort Benning. And it's real simple. They taught us to crave what it is you're bringing to our front doors. So you better be ready for it. Okay? Because, to put it politely, if you mess around and my family is close by and I think they're in danger, I'm driving your dick into the dirt. You're gonna be walking home spitting out asphalt if you can walk. So that's just all there is to it. But I'm a really nice guy otherwise. I'm not like a mean person. I'm not a violent person. I don't go out looking for fights. If someone brings one to me, I'll finish it, no problem. But I won't intentionally start things. That's not who I am. I'm more interested in spending my time with my family and being at home and building my projects and, building new things and entertaining people and that kind of thing. But you're all my friends. You're all good people. So basically, pay no attention to the missile. You're all my friends. So if I knew you and we were out in like public and someone tried to do something to you guys, I'd step in. I'd step in a heart. I'd step in to help anybody that was getting hurt by anybody else. I hate abusers, that's for sure. If a man's abusing his wife and I see it, I'm gonna jerk his ass out of the car or wherever they are. And I'm sorry, I don't care if YouTube doesn't like what I'm about to say. If you abuse a woman, I'm beating you down. Real simple. Now there's a lot of Karens out there, but they don't deserve to have their hands, your hands put on them. That's all there is to it. Okay? You resolve things in a civilized manner, or I will resolve them for you in an uncivilized manner. I will resolve them in an absolute manner. Thank you, Cubics. It's not actually a missile. It's a jet. I'll scoot over this way so you can see it better. But, oh, maybe that's the wrong way. It's designed to land on water. It has upward and underside ducting, and it can pull air in from the top, it can pull air in from the front, and it can tread water from the bottom because it's DC, so the motor works underwater. And that makes it to where the jet can fly. It is a 90 millimeter EDF. It can fly, land on the water, and then using a vectored system at the nozzle can bank itself up, tread the water to gain speed, but it won't get waterlocked at the front because it has an upper duct up top, so it can pull air in from the top. So the addition of the vectoring from the back and the open ducting at the top allows this jet to land on water and take off from water. It has buoyant TPU tires that are set on guide fins underneath the wings, and the rear wheel is a skid that has little rollers on it so I can land on the ground too. So it's designed to take off from the ground or the water. It was an experimental plane. Nuclear war with Nemo. Yeah. I found Nemo. And then you see a video cut of them detonating a nuclear weapon underwater. Yeah. Oh, I gotta do that. That'll be my next short. Found Nemo. Beep. All that water going up in the air. Yeah, that'd be funny. It's not an X15. It's actually something I designed specifically on Fusion. And it's all my design. I'll see if I can pick it up and show it to you real quick though. That'll be fun. This is my mycelium tank right over here where I'm growing Panella stypticus for my genetic engineering. That's always fun. This one's still got some wires hanging off of it, and let me unplug this real quick because I had some lighting I was going to put on it, but I haven't finished it yet. So let me pull the tape off so I don't have a bunch of stuff hanging off of it that you can't see. Totally fine. Okay. So, basically a swept Harrier wing design almost. Top duct. This won't be here. It's just for testing. Has a 90 millimeter EDF. Top ducts, front ducts, bottom ducts for treading water. Can you all see me? It has two buoyancy sections to hold air to keep it afloat. Has the rear skid right here, the guide fins, and the buoyant TPU tires. So yeah, it's going to be a cool little plane. So yeah, completely printed. Oh my goodness. I need more room in here. I'm running out of room. Okay. So I hope I had that in frame. I'm not sure on this phone. Thank you. Thank you. It was just one of the another experiment, yeah. And then we have, I have a drone that I'm putting together for the GoPro so that I have one that I can have in the air recording the 340. So that's one of the main things that we're working on right now. So what we're going to do at this point before, so I'll probably wrap things up in a little bit. So if anyone has any specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Build a life-size plane. Oh, I'm gonna. You're gonna be like, this dude's flying around in a 3D printed airplane. So RTX 5090. Why does that sound familiar? RTX 5090. RTX 5090. Why do I know that? Why do I know that? Sorry, I lose names a lot, so. These are lipo. Yeah, oh, we're not done yet, Pavel. We're not done. We're going to close out today's session here in just a second, but I am going to take you around the shop, and I'm going to show you everything I'm doing. Then you're really going to get a picture of what's going on. So, if you have any questions about anything before I do so, feel free, because I'm going to take a minute here to have a little bit of tobacco. Work. Just the aroma. And that's how you quit. So, depending on the load due to the lower resistance of the cells, they are prone to allow your models to function more, even if they are less capacity than lipo. Did not know that. I'll have to check those out. If you went to war with the world, how quick would you win? Well, I'm already at war with the world every day. Aren't we all? You know, I like to pace myself, so I would say a month. But that being said, let's show you all around. I'm going to unplug my phone, and it's going to get mad at me and tell me it's not finished.
I wasn't finished.
Who hasn't heard that before? All right, first off, in my off time, it's the Black Pearl. Everyone's seen that. I'm still working on it. Yes, I do paint. Not really, but I did try it. I have some paintings that look really cool. That's the mycelium tank with the Pinella stypticus. It's growing, so I have to keep it dark. That's the plane you just saw sitting on the MPCNC, which basically I 3D printed. And then a friend of mine cut out some steel so that we could basically reinforce it. In other words, that's a 3D printed 3-axis CNC mill. Over here, hi Deadpool. How you doing? Never mind the inspiration. We have one of our 170s front drive right here. We've got Deadpool sitting on the first fan that blew up on me. Well, what's left of it anyway. We have the 170 millimeter right here, which is running on a 4-to-1 gear ratio, being pushed by this motor right here, 7070, which is the same motor, the same exact motor that's pushing this 340 millimeter EDF. This is the way I got it strapped down. I have to build a good rig, but right now we're running an ACE bucket for a mount. This is the amp meter that's going to give us our information during the test. A 150 amp 48 volt ESC, 2 really big batteries you've already seen, and of course the same 7070 Flip Sky motor. These are all friction fit into place. No glue on this fan at all. All friction fit and huge. So you guys are gonna love watching that bad boy spin up. So be looking for that video for sure, because it'll probably be out tonight. This is the original Shrike drone. This was a tricopter with a pusher engine. And that's still something we're working on. I was doing it without a flight controller and using servos before. That didn't work out too well, especially with EDFs. And this is for the turbojet. This is for the articulating engines on the Cutlass Black. And we have one of my favorites, which makes people laugh all the time. Oh, this is the drone body for the GoPro that I'm putting together. That's another fixed wing that I'm doing with a F405. And this is the dill drone. And if you see, I have videos on this flying. It is funny, okay? I'm sorry. If Katy Perry's an astronaut, so am I. All I'm saying is, this is the dill drone Katy Perry edition. This is the model that I'm putting together so I can do the carbon fiber for the Cutlass Black. It is going to be this size, and it's going to be a lot longer than this. It'll probably come out to about here from over there. This is an old school plane I found that I'm going to rebuild because I love balsa. It's got some really cool old gear works in it for the landing gear. Love it. But everything works basically off the TX16S. The test RC transmitter is just a regular Fly Sky. Say hello to the Madonna boob fan. And eventually, when CJ gets his site back up, because we'll be able to pick up some bitter coffee for bitter people. There's going to be a link in my channel page so you can get 10% off if you decide to order some coffee and some merch. This right here was a birthday gift. Damascus steel blade. Love this thing. Very heavy. I'm going to use that motor. These turbo motors right here, these Amazon turbo motors, those are good motors. But yeah, this is for, if you're building a plane, you can basically set, this is for me refining my gold. This is for, it runs off a 4-to-1 gear ratio, and then this sits on the back and pushes it. So you could drop this engine, this turbine, into any size aircraft you want to make, to build around it or whatever. This duct work right here is mainly just for testing. And then, of course, we have... what else? This is one of the nozzles that I was going to use for one of the turbines when I was doing a afterburner build. But I'm going to have to start metal printing for that. I did, for the front drive 4-to-1 gear ratio, have a metal system printed, but it just didn't hold it didn't work. It was too, because it was laser sintering, I believe. They didn't get the dimensions right, and the reason why I was making it out of aluminum was because I was burning up all the gears, even nylon 6. So I had this printed up from, I think, PCB weight. No, I think so, yeah. And they just didn't get the dimensions right at all. It won't fit inside the casing. It won't close all the way. I thought they knew what they were doing, but there's a gap. See? Whatever. It needs to be CNC'd. So, or printed properly with someone who actually knows how to use a metal 3D printer. But I did all my planetaries and everything out of aluminum. So, and that's to drive this version right here. It's a front drive version. The reason for this one was for basically weight mitigation of the large model, so that the drone engines and the articulating nacelle at the rear can actually function properly without having to worry about the weight of the entire craft. These would be set inside and driven from the top with the same motor. So that would give you that overall lift that you're looking for, and then the drone can take over. The great part about it is you can run that motor with one of the switches off of the TX16S and still work the drone like a regular drone. So you can lighten the weight of your vehicle by using this, and then still control it as a drone in an aircraft. at the same time. So that's basically what we're doing. Those are the projects that are out and about right now. And tonight, after I charge the batteries, that's what you're going to see. So be looking for that video. I'm probably going to name it like 340 millimeter 48 volt spin up, something like that. Anyway, you'll be notified, I hope, if you click the bell for notifications, and you hopefully it works, because I guess some people aren't notified when I go live. So yeah, military level. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm doing my best. I'm making the effort. But my next drone is basically 4 of these motors here. 4 of those bad boys. So you're talking about 4 feet long, at least, for the drone. X-Quad style. All clear PETG and loaded down with Arduino lights. Because I'm going for a UFO sighting. So that's the plan. And I will tell you right now, you're not old glory. Oh my gosh. But we're ending it anyway. So look, I appreciate all the conversation. I appreciate everybody who stopped by today. You're all great. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you subscribe. I hope you share it with your friends. And I hope you stick around for all the videos, because there's a lot more to come. And I appreciate every single one of you. So from everyone here at DPC, be watching for that video. And I thank you all for being here. Like, subscribe, share it. I love you all. Welcome to the family. I'll see you again.